the rotation that we're seeing, the stocks that are working. I know Deere is a stock that you have brought up in past weeks, Walmart as well. So what are your thoughts on what's working in this market right now?
There's a lot that's working, but I didn't find anything that actionable this weekend. There's a lot of stocks that are in really good uptrends, but as far as entries, they don't really exist. The market's really quiet here. I don't know if it's the end of summer. I know most people are starting to go back to school, and maybe this week we'll start to get back into I don't know if I'd call it normal trading, but the market's really quiet and volatility is really compressed. And it's the calm before the storm. I don't know if that's a storm up or a storm down, but you can see how really tight the Nasdaq is, especially the last handful of days. So I'm playing it close to the vest. It doesn't mean I think it's going down. It could be a storm up too, but I just there just isn't a lot that I feel like I can grab a correct buy point and hold on to. A lot of stuff that I would like to buy, but I think I would get shaken out very easily on a couple of even partially bad days.
Mm-hmm. And Ed, with the rotations that we've been talking about, something that you've been pointing out, especially in recent weeks, is the need to, even though we like having more diversified portfolios, to diversify your leadership. Can you talk about that aspect a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you had a bunch of software names, say in the last couple of weeks, a lot of them came down, like a lot of the leading ones. And so that would have been hard to take if that's all your portfolio was, even if though most of them didn't react that badly. But if you have that mix, it's like you can handle those little downturns as long as there's still these leaders. These are the leading stocks. And as long as, with these minor rotations, it's not necessarily that hard to hold on to some of these names. But if you have a mix, and some stocks will be going up and others may step back or go sideways. But hopefully over time, you're moving higher and hopefully outperforming the market. I just add on one thing about the sideways market with Chris was saying is that, unfortunately, it's been a choppy sideways. If we could have gone sideways, flat or slightly down, then we'd be seeing nice handles and bases. And you also wouldn't have gotten these fake outs. Like a lot of stocks have said, oh, here's an early entry, or here's an entry. Here's like that place you can add on to or stuff. And, because the market's going up and down and then you buy into it and then it comes right back down because that's what the market is doing. So you see that with a lot of those software names or other stocks that got up to highs. Yeah, they've gone sideways, but chances are if you bought them at any place, it's just been difficult. It's just been difficult because of that kind of market action. It'd be nice if we could go sideways flat, sideways slightly down for a little time, but that's what the market's doing right now.
Right. And with us, Chris, close to the 21-day line here, in the past, we've said that pullbacks or reversals at that level can be an opportune time to initiate positions. But, we've come down to this 21-day line a number of times now. So does it really feel like that much of a pullback? Does it feel as significant as other times that we've pulled back to and reversed higher from the 21-day?
No, because and in fact, I mean, the stocks tell you on Thursday and Friday, we just weren't finding that many setups to trade. In some cases, we're kind of pushing it because we were trying to raise exposure a little bit. So this latest pullback, because it was so flat, didn't create a lot of setups.
Okay, well, let's try to find some stocks that are setting up or stocks worth analyzing. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can take a look at MarketSmith here. Scott, I have Deere pulled up. You were talking about an early entry here as the stock's been a couple of days above its 50-day line, taking out that level, and it has continued to run up since then.
Yeah, I think that was a super cheat. Like you would just be, I just want to own it. I'm going to find a way to buy it. Today's day 3, so you have the chance for a handle, as long as it doesn't take out that previous high 3 days ago. And you have earnings Friday, I think.
On the 20th.
4 days, yeah. It's funny. I have I own 3 stocks, and 2 of them report Friday, of course. And I'll be going to Dallas. So, but I assume they'll report either in the morning or after the close. I like the name. I think it's setting up. It's big and liquid, which is both good and bad. It won't make a huge move if I'm right, but I can, get in and out pretty easily if I need to. And it seems to be setting up pretty good. If you don't own it now,
right.
now it's like everybody has their own little shtick for earnings. I don't think there's any right answer for earnings. There's just a lot of it just depends on the type of season you're in, whether you want to be in them or not. You have to figure that out for yourself for sure. But if you don't own in earnings, then you have to obviously consider that. You've got a 4-day window. I don't know how much of a cushion you're going to get if that's one of your rules. Going into earnings. I don't use that 10% rule. If I like it, I'm in it for earnings. I might reduce the size for sure, but I try not to cherry pick the earnings. I take the good with the bad.
But you ideally want to be up on the position, maybe not 10%. Even if you're down a little bit, you're still gonna.
Correct. I just treat it like, I just pretend I'm back in 1996 and I'm oblivious. Because I never worried about earnings for years and years and years. I just, oh my gosh, they report. Why is XYZ up? Oh, they reported earnings last night. I don't know. It just was a different environment. So now I understand that the environment is different. You have to know and be aware of the earnings. But I can give you plenty of examples of stocks where, I held through earnings and got torched, and the other way around, where I held through earnings and the stock was up 25%. I'm not very good at buying them the very next day. Like if I like the name at 100 and it gaps at 125, I just can't buy it. I just can't pull the trigger. I might be able to buy it at 125 5 days later, but on that gap on the open, I'm not very good at that. So I just will have a position into earnings, and then if I have to, I can always buy it back, or buy more, I should say. So if I had 1,000 shares and I reduce it to 300, it won't bother me to go buy, 300, 400, 500 again the next day. But to initiate, I don't know, it's very hard for me to do that.
Yeah, there are different strategies. At the end of the day, we like talking about risk management. So that's why, whether it is a 5% profit cushion or 10% profit cushion, I think it has to do with the personality of the stock. Chris, also the expected move. That's another thing that you can also factor in. So with Deere forming a handle here, maybe earnings will be that next catalyst for the stock. So we'll just have to see. But Chris, I want you to talk about Advanced Auto Parts and LKQ. You mentioned our feature story this week on IBD Weekly was about these auto parts retailers. So AAP pulling back here and getting support around its 50-day line.
Yeah, and what I liked about that one is it was really looking good on the like the hourly and 30-minute charts. So but what I'm looking for is a reversal higher, not not buying out on weakness. So I think everything is getting hit right now. Let's take a look at LQK.
LQK or LKQ?
LKQ.
Okay.
Whatever.
You're just making sure I was paying attention,
I know. And this one, too, looked a lot better over the weekend now that it's taking out the 50-day, not as good. And I think AutoZone is really it's still holding the 21-day, but it doesn't look like it's ready to do anything.
So even if it does reverse higher from here, or is that what it takes to take out the last
I guess
couple
I was
days?
looking, when I look at it on a weekly chart, it looks so flat. So
yeah, a lot of really tight weeks in there. O'Reilly looking better. ORLY. That was AZO. Now we're seeing a pullback for ORLY.
I just mean, like, it seems like, another week, it's like it wouldn't be long before I could come back down to the 10-week line. So that could be something. But but
The one thing about it on earnings, it had that big gap down in reverse, so that's looks a little weird. But
Yeah.
overall, if you ignore that day, it's a nice pullback
Mhm.
underway. So they're
Right.
all, yeah, they're all setting up pullbacks, and